Welcome back, everyone. Okay, let's dive right into this. Today, we're unpacking the deep, incredibly rich lore of this remarkably gritty fantasy prologue, the Chronicles of Bone. Look, if you're someone who loves digging into massive world building, really intense character dynamics, and brutal, fictional histories, you're absolutely going to love this explainer. We're going to systematically break down this complex narrative so we can grasp the full scope of what's actually happening beneath the surface here.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover 1. A 500-year rule ends. 2. Factions and key players. 3. The power of Excalibur. 4. The siege of Blackmere. And finally, 5. Merlin's dark prophecy.
All right, Section 1. A 500-year rule ends. A monumental shift.
To truly understand the stakes of this prologue, we actually need to look at the very end of the narrative first. 500. Think about that number for a second. This isn't just a generation or two, this is half a millennium. For 500 years, the Mordanes have maintained a brutal, totally suffocating occupation over the realms of man. Generations of people have lived and died knowing literally nothing but Mordane rule. The psychological weight of an occupation like that, it's just immense.
And that brings us to this incredibly powerful victory quote directly from the source material. For the first time in over 500 years, the Mordanes no longer hold all the realms of man. This isn't just some tactical military win, it is a world-altering paradigm shift. By taking the south, Arthur and his forces haven't just captured a piece of territory, they've completely shattered this 500-year-old illusion of invincibility. They've finally proven that the Mordanes can actually be pushed back.
Moving on to Section 2. Factions and key players. The brutal war.
So you might be wondering, who exactly achieved this impossible feat, and who on earth were they fighting against? And this brilliantly illustrates the core conflict of our universe. On one side, we have the rebellion, fighting tooth and nail to establish or protect the main dynasty. On the other side, we have the Mordanes. It's a really hard, distinct line drawn between Arthur's mortal, human forces and these monstrous, seemingly unkillable overlords. It's kind of the ultimate underdog story, right? Mere flesh and blood going up against dark, deeply entrenched power.
Let's put some faces to these factions so we can keep them straight. On the rebellion side, we've got Arthur, the wielder of the sword, Merlin, his ancient advisor, Vivian, who seeks Merlin's counsel, alongside some incredibly loyal fighters like Lancelot, Gwen, Bors, and Gawain. Now standing against them are the Mordanes, led by King Vieric. Beneath him are his siblings, Vorin, who holds the southern city, and Sorin, plus a terrifying entity known only as the Beast.
Now, what's genuinely fascinating about the Mordane side is that they aren't some perfectly united front, not at all. Sauron, the sister of Vorin and King Vieric, has actually been stuck in exile in the city of Ash for 4 whole years. And why? Because she flat out refuses to give her brother, the king, her coveted Emberstone. It just goes to show us that while the Mordanes oppress humans, they're fiercely divided amongst themselves by greed and family drama.
Which brings us to Section 3, the power of Excalibur, the great equalizer.
So how do mere humans actually fight beings that have held absolute power for 5 centuries? Well, Excalibur is no ordinary steel. Its specific mechanical advantage in this world is that it's a unique blade capable of inflicting unhealable wounds. During the battle, it is explicitly stated that this is the one blade we cannot heal from. Standard weapons were basically useless because Mordanes just healed right up. Excalibur is the great equalizer here. It's literally the only thing that can permanently damage a Mordane.
And believe me, the enemy is very aware of this power. Check out this quote from Vorin. "And when I kill you and take that sword, this castle will mean nothing." Vorin's arrogant ambition is just on full display here. He doesn't just want to crush the human rebellion. He wants Excalibur for himself. Why? Because if he holds the one weapon capable of killing a Mordane, he can finally challenge his own brother, King Vieric. It's such a brilliant layer of narrative. The sword is a tool for human liberation, sure, but it's also this massive object of Mordane lust.
All right, Section 4, the siege of Blackmere, tactical execution.
Now that we know the major players and the weapons involved, let's actually look at the battle itself. The primary objective? Take Blackmere, the largest Mordane city in the south, and kill Vorin. It's super important to note here that Merlin actively advised against doing this. In Merlin's eyes, this entire war had previously been built on slow, safe scraps of ground. Launching a full-scale siege just to assassinate a leader? That was a highly risky, distinctly human, very emotional decision driven purely by Arthur's determination.
Let's move to the plan and see how this builds. Arthur didn't just charge the front door.
He had a really strict step-by-step playbook for this night's siege. Step 1. Infiltrators set the banner above Warren's chamber on fire. Step 2. Lancelot, maintaining strict silence, waits for that exact signal to open the rear gates. Step 3. All the forces converge right at the tower. And Step 4. Neutralize any resistance and confront Warren. It is a highly coordinated, incredibly high-stakes infiltration.
But, no plan survives contact with the enemy perfectly, right? Arthur's men face a massive, sudden obstacle right at the banner. The Beast. This isn't just any regular guard, it's King Varric's secret monster. For 20 whole years, it was kept as a mindless, silent, helmet-wearing statue in Voron's presence, completely enslaved to do the king's bidding. Nobody even knows what faces beneath that helm. It's a terrifying, silent wild card thrown right into the middle of Arthur's careful strategy.
And finally, Section 5, Merlin's Dark Prophecy, a Dark Omen. Ultimately, Arthur and his forces do overcome the beast, defeat Voron, and take the city. It's a huge win. But the victory is shadowed by something deeply unsettling. The source reveals a frankly terrifying catch regarding Excalibur. Yes, it's insanely powerful, but the wielder must remain totally noble and pure to prevail. I mean, that is an incredibly heavy burden to place on a mortal man. The survival of the entire Maon dynasty entirely depends on the unwavering purity of Arthur's human heart.
So the crucial point here is captured perfectly in Merlin's really gritty warning to Vivian. Merlin says, "He is still made of flesh, and flesh rots." Arthur might literally be the purest man Merlin has ever known, and he might carry this righteous cause to his very core, but he is fundamentally mortal. This brilliantly highlights the core theme of the whole narrative: human frailty pitted against the immense weight of eternal legend. Flesh is corruptible. Time, trauma, war, they wear down even the absolute best of men.
Which leads us to the terrifying question left hanging over this historic victory. Merlin prophesies that if Arthur's heart turns, even for a single fleeting moment, the Maldane dynasty may still fall. But actually, that's not even the worst part. The prophecy states that from their blood, something far worse will rise. I mean, what could possibly be worse than 500 years of Mordane oppression? What dark entity or corrupted force is just sitting there, waiting for Arthur to have one weak human moment? It's an absolutely brilliant way to end a prologue, leaving us with a world that's saved for today, but teetering on the absolute edge of a nightmare tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this really helped clear up the lore, and I can't wait to dive into more of this with you next time.
Hello guys, thank you for watching my video and please subscribe. Hey YouTube, my short reel participate, not mask content. This last reel I am participate. Or hey guys, please subscribe. Thank you for